Irving, Thaler, 912 Edgemore Road, Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Birthday.
Excuse me?
Birthday.
Birthday, March 26th, 1927. I'm 86 now, right now.
Right.
Believe it or not.
I guess my first question would be, where were you? What was your life like before you went into the service? And explain, how you got in, and let's start there.
Well, during the period of time before I went in, we were still in a depression during the war. I mean, before the war and during the war, it was the depression. And I was brought up in a lower neighborhood in Brooklyn. My father had a store, fruit and vegetable store, which I worked in. And I worked in 1944 in an Army and Navy store. And when I was 17, I decided I've got to do something with my life. So I decided to go to NYU as a pre-medical student. And this is 1944. And I went to NYU in 1945 as a pre-med student, taking every penny I had, sinking it into tuition, hoping that I'll be drafted, because all I had was one term's tuition. So I was fortunately drafted. I'll say fortunate because it wasn't a fortunate thing for me. I was drafted into the Army right after I finished my first term in high school in June of 1945. And as I said, I couldn't go any further in college because I had no money. So it came at a fortunate time for me personally. And I was drafted into the Army in June of 1945. And I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky, an armored replacement training center where they teach you how to drive tanks.
So that was your job to drive?
Not really, no. But what happened, in Fort Knox they separated us. Those who had previous driving experience were put in a group that would be learning how to drive tanks, shoot the cannons and so forth. I never drove before, so they took those who never drove before and put them in a group where we learn how to drive vehicles, Jeeps, trucks, etc. So in Fort Knox, Kentucky, we had basic infantry training, and then those who knew how to drive went to tank training, and those who didn't know how to drive, we learned how to drive trucks. And I graduated from Fort Knox as an assistant truck driver. I was only 18 at the time. I graduated as an assistant truck driver.
So when you graduated, what was the next move?
The next move was waiting in a replacement center where to go. But during the time I was in the Army, the atom bomb was dropped in July. What was it, August? I think it was July, late July of 1945. We all cheered. Greatest thing that ever happened to us, because we were training to fight the Japanese. So the atom bomb was dropped in the middle of our training. The war was over August 14th, 15th. We had a 1 day off, but we still completed our training to the end of October of 1945. So even though the war was over in Japan, and theoretically the Japanese surrendered September 3rd of 1945, we still continued training. So the next step is what to do with us. So now that the war is over, well, I was eventually sent to Germany, loaded on a ship in Boston, a troop ship, and we went to Germany, landing in Bremerhaven on Christmas Eve of 1945. So we were some of the first occupational troops. All men were beginning to come back from Europe. They had to be replaced. Still had to maintain order in Europe. So I still remember landing in Bremerhaven in 1945. And
Cold?
Yeah, excuse me.
Was it cold?
No. This is just an aside. From the winter of 1945-46, I never experienced snow. We landed in Germany, and from Germany, we went to France. We took a train to France, in a little town in France called Romilly-Dessous, and that was a military police training camp. So the troops were split up from the ship, but my group, whoever we were, went to Romilly in France, where for 2 weeks we learned how to be a military policeman. 2 weeks. We learned how to take apart a 45 gun. We learned how to use a club. We learned jujitsu, things of that nature. Primarily we learned jujitsu, self-defense. And after 2 weeks in this school in France, we then went to Frankfurt, Germany. We were assigned to Frankfurt, Germany. The United States forces in Irving, Thaler. That's where our central headquarters was in Europe, where Eisenhower and other generals were.